bitch. Hello. So, if you haven't read the title of the video, ow, oh my god. Okay, to be honest, I have no idea what this video is. Nobody asked for it. No one told me to do this. I just decided in my head that it would be a fun thing to do. I've just been looking at a lot of people like ranking things recently. I don't know what the YouTube algorithm is trying to do to me, but that's all that's been popping up on my recommended. And I was like, these are such fun videos. How could I do this? What is in my life that is worth ranking? And then I realized that my channel and actually my entire personality just boils down to the fact that I go to school at an institution known as MIT. Since that is my only personality trait, I decided that I would rank all of the classes that I have taken in college, which is just my freshman year. So honestly, not that big of a pool. Honestly, what am I doing? Honestly, I don't know. So I went to the website, I like made my own like ranking thing and everything. It's like amazing. So now before we start ranking all my classes, I just want to explain that like MIT has this weird thing about them where everything is like given a number instead of an actual name. And they like usually also have names, but we just refer to them by their number for some reason, because we're nerds, I know, yeah. Some of my classes are like 1802, 801, but like it's also just like not even just the number, it's just like it's become its own thing, like its own, I hesitate to say slang because that sounds so lame, but like it is. Like okay, at first glance, how would you try to say this number? 60001 or like 60,001? No, it's 6001. That's the only way to say it. And it gets worse. How would you say this number? You might think, oh, that's 5111 or 5111. No, it's 5111. Let that sink in. Why do we do that? The point is, I know these classes by their numbers, but obviously to you that would mean nothing. So on my little like ranky thing, I put the number and the name so we would all understand. Okay, so without further ado, let me introduce to you the categories that I'm gonna rank these classes by. So at the top, we got A+. Now this is pretty obvious. This is just like, you know, cream of the crop. You did a great job. You were fantastic. Above and beyond. Great class. Next we have pass, and pass is like, it wasn't the best, but you got the job done, you know? After that we have 50 out of 100, which is technically a failing grade, but we're just gonna pretend that means like middle ground, like you're neutral. I have some good feelings, some bad feelings, or no good feelings and no bad feelings. You existed, I took your class, that's it. After that is heavy regrets. By that I mean I regret taking this class. And then lastly we have I'm dropping out. Now these are not classes that I actually dropped out of. This just mostly means like on more than one occasion, I really did consider like leaving your class forever. And those are our categories. So I think first we gotta set like the highest and the lowest, because like when you're trying to make a utility function for your econ class, you always start by doing the lowest point and the highest point. So that's what we're gonna do. So I would say my A+ class is CMS 100, which is Intro to Media Studies. So I'm gonna drag it up there. Let me just tell you, this class was great. It was such a fun class. The people in it were like, are still some of my good friends. Jason was in that class with me. The ideas were just so cool and like not things that I'd ever learned about before. We talked a lot about like Twitter and like Google and Facebook and how they like use our data against us, but whatever. We had this field trip to Boston. I just want to say that was one of the weirdest but like funnest days of my life. We were all together and we were like going to each stop together, but then it started like pouring and then like everyone got lost track of each other. And then our group just decided to not do anything we were supposed to do, and instead we went to Quincy Market and bought mac and cheese and we ate it and it was great. Also, he brought in a lot of guest speakers and they were really interesting. And also the grading was really easy. So that is my A+ class. Now next we're gonna set my lowest class, which I'm sorry to say is Physics E&M. First of all, it was a required course. So we're all required to take physics mechanics and physics E&M. The problem with E&M specifically was that I had not taken that class before ever, and so I had no idea what was going on. I literally didn't know anything, and the formatting of the lecture was just like so hard to focus. For the physics classes, they had us use the teal classroom and the teal like learning style, which just means you all sit in a circle like on your laptop. And can you imagine like how hard it is to pay attention when you're sitting with all your friends in a circle on your laptops? Like, yeah, it was tough. And then additionally, the reason that this gets the worst grade is because when we went online, they were like, see ya, I don't care. They stopped doing live lectures, which all my other classes at least like kept doing lectures. So instead they just made us watch these videos that they had already made for open courseware, I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously I could have tried harder, but like it was a required class. I'm not touching physics ever again. So all in all, not a great experience, and I still have to take a final in that class. Okay, so now we set those milestones. I'm gonna move on to multivariable calculus, and that gets a pass. Pass because it was like a good class, but it wasn't the best. I do, however, have to give a shout out to my recitation instructor. His name is Chen Wan. He was, I don't know what was happening in his head. He was a genius. He explained all the concepts like a million times better than the actual lecturer. I'm sorry, actual lecturer. So before every midterm, I would go to recitation, and he would have one recitation that was an hour long where he would teach like the entire curriculum in 1 hour, and it made sense. Props to Chen Wan. I would not have done well in that class without you. Overall, pass, you know? Next in the pass is actually gonna be 801, which is physics mechanics. Now, I kind of already explained the differences here between this and the other physics, but like, first of all, I had knowledge of this, so I knew what I was doing already. Second of all, I'd like to give a shout out to my lecturer. He was just like a teddy bear. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, yeah, I also had a really great TA, and we had a lot of fun in that class, even though sometimes we were not supposed to, but like, yeah, it was fun. Like, I never hated going there, and I learned and like did well. I think I got an A in that class, so pass. So next I'm going to rank 6001, which is Intro to Programming. Now this class was a half semester class. It ran like half semester 6001, half semester 6002. So this was like an intro class, and I'm gonna have to put it in heavy regrets. Maybe it's not necessarily the course's fault. No, it is the course's fault. Okay, let me explain. So I came to college and I already knew how to code. Like, some people in this class just like didn't know how to code at all. The reason I was in this class, even though I had coded before, was because I'd only coded in C before, because for some reason my high school coding teacher decided it was best to teach everyone to code in C and not Python. And this class is in Python. So I took the class, and the problem with this class was that it moved so fast. It started off like basic, like this is how you write a print statement. By the end, it was like so hard that like I didn't know what was happening. So I think the pacing of the class was a little too much, even for me who already knew how to code. And a result of that was that I did so badly on the final. Also, the lectures were so boring. And then 6002, which is like the next one, the other half semester class. It's technically called Intro to Computational Thinking and Data Science, but I couldn't fit that, so it's just Intro to Computational Thinking. And I'm gonna rank it at 50 out of 100. Now, the reason I like it better than the second semester class is because it kind of went more in depth. I felt like I was actually learning stuff, and I did kind of well in that. Even though it was supposed to be harder than 6001, I think I kind of got my shit together. I was like, oh my god, like I almost failed this class. Not really, that's an exaggeration, but I was like, oh my god, I did so bad on the final. I have to like get my shit together. I was supposed to be like a coder, like I'm supposed to already know how to do this. So I kind of like brought it all together. It was basically just like coding a bunch of algorithms, which I guess is helpful. So like, you know, whatever. 50 out of 100, neutral. I don't have that many regrets. It was like, it was a class. I did it, yeah. And that finishes off first semester with the extra physics, but that's just sort of benchmark. Okay, now so to start off second semester, okay, so continuing, since we already talked a lot about coding, oh my god, I'm just gonna talk a little bit more about coding and my fundamentals of programming class, which I took in the spring. This class was interesting, to say the least. Let's talk about the format. We had one lecture a week, and then we also had one weekly coding assignment that took like 8 or 9 hours, whatever, it was fine. But a lot of the times, the one lecture a week did not actually cover anything that was in the coding assignment, so it was just like unhelpful. So this coding assignment that took like a really long time, a lot of them were really hard. It was just a lot of like us trying to figure it out by ourselves and like going to office hours and begging the TAs for help. My favorite activity. Also, what I want to say about that class is that like literally everyone in our year was in it. The lecture hall was packed, like there were so many people. So it was just like going to lecture with all your friends, which was like a lot of fun. Overall, pretty good experience. It also gets you really good at coding.
Okay, one thing I forgot to mention was that the professor of this class would get so butthurt every time you tried to leave lecture early. So if he saw you like going down the aisle to leave, he would like call you out in front of the entire class. But like, anyway.
So I'm actually gonna give the fundamentals of programming class a pass. Good job. Now let's talk about microeconomics. Here's the thing. Economics, I think it's very interesting, just the concepts, you know? But a few things made this class challenging and annoying, to say the least. First of all, my intuition for economics is terrible. It's so hard for me. I don't know why, but that made it really hard for me to do a lot of these problems. It would take me so long and I was like so done. I was like, I'm done. What didn't help with me not being able to do the problems was the fact that the lectures were only about concepts and conceptual things and like real life examples, but then the problem sets were all math. She didn't lecture ever about math. Sometimes she didn't even lecture about concepts. She would just talk about her family for like an hour. And I'm like, bitch, how am I supposed to do the problem set? So a lot of the times the math part actually has to be taught by like the recitation instructors. The problem is that like all of the TAs who like led recitation and office hours were just so uninterested. It was like a struggle to stay awake. Like it was only an hour long and I was like falling asleep in recitation all the time because this dude was just like mumbling. So yeah, it like would have been a fine class if the professor had taught us math and not talked about her family so much. Although she was a cool person. If the TAs had maybe like been a little more alert and awake during recitation, and if I was better at econ. So yeah, I'm gonna stick that in heavy regret. And that leaves us with 15053, which is optimization methods in business analytics. Now this class, there are so many things to say about this class. First of all, the concepts that they taught in this class were pretty freaking interesting. Also oh my god, our professor, his name's Martin, he was like a jelly bean. Like that's the only way I can describe him. He also would do these mid-class breaks because our class was an hour and a half. So he would break it up by like giving us trivia questions or like showing us weird videos.
Tamagotchis.
Some of the problems though, first of all, he had us using this coding language called Julia, which was apparently like invented at MIT. Maybe that's why they made us use it. Okay, no, they didn't actually make us use it. They just encouraged us to use it. They taught us how to use it. But that language, I hate it. It is so hard to debug. It's like Python, but worse. And if you code in Python and then you like try to code in a worse Python, like that's not fun. Second of all, the TAs in this class, there were 3 of them. The thing about these TAs, this is such a funny story. Okay, so they graded our homework assignments. I would always do my problem sets and check the answers with my other friends who were in the class. I would always get worse grades than the people that I was checking answers with, even though we had the same answers. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, in what world does this make sense? So one day, we got a P set returned to us. My friends, they got a 94. They both did. I got mine back and I got like an 82. I decided the best thing to do, I was actually peer pressured into this by one of my friends. I decided to write them a Piazza post. I tried to send a Piazza post to the instructors but make it anonymous so they wouldn't know who was sending it and I could just like flame them. So I did all that, wrote this like scathing Piazza post. I was like, this is bullshit, you guys are being unfair, you're sabotaging my grade. And I was like, great, now they're just gonna like read my furious Piazza post and they're gonna be all like, oh my god, what happened? But what actually happened, 30 minutes later maybe, I got an email from the professor of the class and I was like, why is he responding to me when the post is anonymous? Turns out it wasn't anonymous. And basically what he said in his reply was, thank you for your concern. I personally checked your problem set and your answers are just wrong. The score is fine. And I was like, great. So that was that class. Overall, it was fine. I'm putting that class in 50 out of 100 because I really just had some good experiences and some like really bad experiences, so they kind of just like evened out to here. But yeah, those are my classes. This is my lovely ranking board. I mean, I guess looking at it, like it's like not bad. It's like pretty good. I pretty much had like a positive experiences, so that's great for me. And okay, yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, bye.